This is day 1025 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor our cutting share of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi or more, please call me directly. It would be very greatly appreciated. Today we're doing our day of Simpei Dalit again. Sif Lam and Gimel through Mem Beis. And the question which the Arukh HaShulchan left off with yesterday is why the Rambam left out the entire halacha of straining at night versus straining during the day. Arukh HaShulchan is going to explain. Rambam Gimel. Yearly the Rambam Farish Perish Achar Gemara. The Rambam has a different interpretation of the Gemara. The Ein says Dinkavov, but they can't give a specific hard and fast parameter here. It's not because it's training that necessarily that the worm will separate from the original location, which is what the tour holds. All types of straining. Who can determine, ascertain what is considered to be a small hole? What's a big hole? It has to do with the perspective of the person who's training. And based on his reckoning. Therefore, the Rambam tells this halacha. If by straining it separates and goes back into the beverage, it's nasar, it's awesome. Gemara says something else. That's what it says. You should not strain water over twigs at night. That's it doesn't say lo yisanein, it says lo yishafeh. Language of lo yishafeh by beverage, it's when there's a refuse in the beverage. Mamina says maharbe, you have it sit for a long time. So that as time goes by, the refuse will sink to the bottom. This is especially true about beer. Shabbos, like it says in the Shabbos, in the house of Rav Papa, they gradually poured the beer from container to container. The tiny lashon shafui, and it sometimes says shafui, shipui, shafui, benachasu. It's done slowly, so that the refuse will stay at the bottom of the first vessel. Says also there's lo sholin as kashim, lo shavin osam. You do not remove the crest, nor do you pour them out to Pish Rashi in order to remove the refuse. They used to leave it all night to settle. But came into Shia, since it needs time. He used to have a beitza. So Shomer Shalo Yasa came with Sheikh Abitziv. So you should not do this by beer with twigs. Because in such a long time, it's more likely that the worm will go up on the twig and then go back into the beverage. And the Rambam didn't have to mention this at all. That approximately is by the because even if it's less than an entire night, it's a problem. Really means the Rambam the Gemara didn't have to mention nighttime at all. The Apolos Mishir Zay, I mean, it's not the entire night. Vade Shlush is always concerned. But it says the Gemara, they used to leave it overnight. He said that's why the Gemara used the language of night, but not because it's specifically a halacha of nighttime. So according to Rambam, the salient point is that it's shifui, not sinun. Different way of straining. Lam dal, Fimashi Bar, according to what she explains, she says Rabbi saying by the Shulchan Aruch Pishitas Rashi. The Shulchan Aruch goes according to Rashi. I feel Pishita Zu and even according to this opinion, because with the Isu Rak, the Ksami Kashim, it's only by twigs and straw. Avoter Beged, but through a garment or misnenes or through a strainer, mutter is permissible. We said that this is talking about a thin hold strainer. Mistami says Zidaka, and a generic strainer is indeed thin. Never says astonishing. Also, if it's also in a broad hold strainer, they shouldn't have left this dangling, left this unexplained, and put a stumbling block. There are people who are learning and don't know how to differentiate. Therefore, it seems to me the kavanah they mean the misnenes the chol gav neshari. By strainer, it's always mutter. So why should we assume the worst and assume something negative happened? We might have to say the elu shior the derech nikvei misnenes, and to say that those bugs which came through the strainer Were first on top of the strainer. And they came back into the beverage. Either on the contrary. No much it's more likely it came down directly together with the beverages. No Shalom says, "Lo mashke." They were on the strainer without any beverage. V'chush meikain, and this is what our senses tell us is more logical. Dafka b'kisim makashin, only by sticks and by twigs and by straws. Ein derech sinin bekach, which are not only made to strain, so they're not made to strain. Mashke karega no fell, and the beverage falls away immediately. But there it's definite that the bugs will separate onto the twigs or onto the straw. Then they slide back into the beverage. Especially what you said, the sheep that sheep were letting it sail for a long time. But by strainers, but by everything goes down in one fell swoop that can through the strainer. But they certainly went down. Those which are remain a strainer, not going to go down afterwards into the beverage. Mami says immediately take the strainer away. Even though that's a complete shot, it's still difficult to know what to do lemaisa. Especially if you leave the strainer inside the vessel, into which the beverage descends. So wrote in the following language. Vinegar, which became wormy, also not allowed to strain them. Because you can't see those bugs unless it's opposite the sun. Very bright. In essence, we're afraid that maybe they're going to separate onto the strainer. Yeah, so they're going to go back into it. But without straining, it's permitted. Like any other water which has got wormy separate from the ground when it's in a bucket. I heard clearly that even though it's going to be a very fine cloth, which doesn't even have a small hole, just the between the fibers of the garment. Even still, it's going to pass through. The only thing you can do is to cook the vinegar first and then strain it. Once the worm is dead, it won't pass through the strainer. Also Gadol. And the quote from the Gadol, who is the Chachmas Adam. According to what the Chachmas Adam is saying, then there's a lack of explaining on the part of Chazal and the other Rabbanim here as to what the parameters are. Especially something which is always needed. Well, we don't need this. No matter which way you look at it. If they pass with vinegar, they were never Polish. We don't have to assume worse than that which we didn't see. Maybe they tarried momentarily on the trigger or something. So I'm concerned, he should be blessed. And that's their custom, to make sure that once it's strained, to immediately remove the strainer. That's what you have to do. Lanvav. Yeshu's custom Shem Chachmei Teva. Those were in the name of the scientist. The somebody who looks in a magnifying glass, spectiva, so I assume it comes with perspective, and it's probably a microscope. He'll see that any vinegar is full of bugs, full of worms. Well, that's not a problem in of itself, because the worms which generate separate from the ground, not sure it's olets, not sure it's a hamayim, not sure it's a ha'ov, they are not a problem. But I heard and then any water, especially rainwater, malay beruim dakim, has very fine creatures, which I cannot see. V'yadusi shamati mi pi echad shem marchokim. In my youth, I heard of somebody who was in the distant land for a derech chuchis magdalos, and he saw in a magnifying glass ad ma'oid kir, so many. I'm sure it means it's a microscope, not a magnifying glass. Ad ma'oid kir vavas pamim b'mayim kol minei abruim. You saw tens of thousands of creatures in the water. It's like the New York water with the crustaceans in the water. These water. These creatures came to being in this water. But the truth is, Torah does not forbid that which the eye cannot see. Torah is not given to angels. Look, if not, many of the scientists have written, all of air is full of tiny, tiny creatures, mites and such like. People, when a person opens his mouth, he swallows several of them. Certainly they are heavily means he's rejecting what the scientists say, which is strange because it seems that why would we assume that they're lying? But that's what he says. He says begrudgingly, if we said what they said. I cannot perceive them. It's nothing. I'm numb. Whatever I can see, I feel negative shemesh, even if it's only opposite the sun. I feel dak, even if it's very, very fine, like those crustaceans in New York water. Have a sheretz gomor, it's an absolute sheretz. Lamed zayin. L'chein yeshis or obakayitz, every day very careful summer. But osim shishosim in the horos, people drink from rivers, minagamim, and from lakes, miberos and springs, umeamayoros and fountains. Springs. I translate. Beros are wells. Noros magami from rivers and lakes, and beros and wells. Mayanos and springs. Shemukim, which are not deep. Because of the heat, they are generated within them. Small flies and small worms. And you have to be careful to strain the water. He says, a very fine strainer. Also in the summer when it rains. There are small flies, which fly in the air, which get mixed in. You can't drain them before you strain them with a very fine strainer. They beg to buy a garment by cloth. It's like we strain water on Pesach because of the concern of chametz being mixed in. But if it's a deep well or deep spring, you don't usually find these creatures in them. Wow, seems like a big chumrah over the Gemara. The Gemara speaks about nighttime, and we have gotten to 24 hours a day. But that's what he says. Lamed Ches. One of the ancients has written a vinegar which has worms in pirshu if they came out into the air, nikra pirshu. Even they didn't go on anything. But they went from the vinegar to a cooked dish. Lave pirshu, it's not going to be porridge, mutarim, and it's minute, and that's the Beiser name Ben Yucham. So I'm shittimim. This is certainly true. But there are those who wrote this that it's true even about a cold cooked dish, and even separate from place to place in the food itself. That's where it grows. It's okay. But when outside the food, even on the inner walls of the vessel, also it's forbidden. It's not how they grow. According to this, you don't eat this cooked dish during the day when you can see them, but not at night. It's astonishing. No matter which way you look at it. If you consider food by itself, also gamre should be completely forbidden. Because they moved on to the food. If you consider the beverage and the food as one, what are we careful when on the inner wall of the vessel? Elun. So when Gdolim with Taka complains about the pre-Chodesh position. Chachmas Ledem. That's Ledem Siv Chav. Hey, in Pirsha Mesa, with the separating when it's already dead, he's brought the comments to be clarified later on. Lamates, Quani's already explained. The Toloi Magdalim Payos Tolush. Once it's grown fruit when they're severed from the ground, we'll turn their missiles, right? Lo Korean Shoretz Oretz, they never crawled on the land. So there's only mutzah as long as they don't go down to the ground. And Pirsha went down to the ground. Hareim Shotim Arts, they are crawling on the ground. Im Chazu Peri, they went back to the fruit afterwards. Asurim, they're forbidden. Below Kimalayim, and you get Malchus. Below now this Filu Pirshu Mesu Bavir Kodem Shehil Arts. Even they separated and got and died in the air before they dropped to the ground. They're called Shoretz Aloretz. This is an issue in the Gemara, question Gemara, but it's not resolved. It made the Sfeik the Raisa Chumrah. Therefore, we have to Imachir in the Sfeik the Raisa. However, that's the case. If there's another Sfeik, have a Sfeik Sekel, then it's a double Sfeik, and you Yesh Lahatir. You admit it, that's the Prima Godim. That's according to opinion holds. That a question was done resolved, the Gemara, the Chaz get a Sfeik Sfeika can be included in designing a Sfeik Sfeika. Those organists ain't a fake fake. It's not a fake fake. He says, "Look, the Pichar is simple view. Pichar is fake fake. Host A. Man, but I feel lo pirshu kulo me aperi elimiksaso. Even the sherets did not completely separate itself from the fruit. Only part of it. Also, the agabe peri only went onto the top of the fruit. Also, garina peri, or it was in by the seed, by the pit of the fruit, and it went on top of the pit. Even though the pit is still in the fruit. Oh, so you stay payros. There's one fruit next to another. The peri went from fruit to fruit. Called Ela Asurim. Oh, these are forbidden. These are all questions which are now resolved by the Gemara. The issue is maybe once they left the place of the grew, after low short larts, even though they haven't crawled on the ground, because short larts maybe it's called crawling on the ground. That's like worms, in water, which is on vessels, which went onto the outside of the vessel. It's not as if they went on the wall on the inside of the vessel. Which is the way they grow. That's not the case. Why shouldn't the white Torah allow them? It's not possible they don't go up on the walls of the keli. But that's not like worms in fruit which is disconnected from the ground. Adam, they're always there. So therefore, for them to move out of there is considered pirish. Since prohibition because of suffix, when there's another suffix, have a fake seiko. It is a fake seiko. As we were in the previous sif. Memal, we should know the das Rashi tesis are baby Rishonim. Rashi says in many Rishonim, lo mikay pirish not going to be separated el shapir shachaya unless it's separated when it was alive. On pirish mesa, it's separated when it was dead. Live kumuli, it's nothing. So they call ikar isar prisha, the entire concept of the isar prisha mission. They make a short because it's called crawling on the ground. When it's dead, it can't move. Shritza perishos the varacheshim naneh, and shritza of a sheretz means a definition something which wobbles, something which crawls and shakes. Therefore, whether it's talking about marine worms which were porridge to the back of the keli, solution also by fruit which already plucked from the ground. Where the bug fell down to the ground. Or to the air, or any place we mentioned. It's only when it's perished alive. So not when it's dead. This worms which are in vinegar, solution, and in plucked fruit, and in lentils, pulim, and legumes, the kidneys, and in pulim are one type of bean, kidneys are another type of bean. When you heated them on the fire. Mesa time and the worms died. Improved pirish. We don't care if afterwards they separate. That's basically the name Rabbeinu Yerucham. Membase. Avola Rambam Barif Rabbeinu Chanana Rashbaz also gam Chagavna. That's not even to move when it's dead. Say the guy Pirsha Mesa, they buy the shit the Gemara. They say that moving it says the question is not resolved in the Gemara. The Elisha Ochim L'Shita or Chashun says they follow their line of reasoning. So they hold the God Gamba Toloy Shem Mechuber Asurim. Also worms when they are in the fruit connected ground, they are also. Even if they have no room to actually wiggle. Rashi tells us say the gam mechuber tzarich makom lechosh. Rashi tells us they need room to wiggle. Uman the sphere lay the chishim hakev is going to hold the wiggle room is required. Mele gam precious tolush tzarich shadavka. So when it separates, it also has to from something which is set on the ground still needs to have room to move. Masi the chish and makeves the holds that the moving around is not impediment. Melgam precious tolush and makeves. So even it's not required to move, even if it is already plucked from the ground. He says, "Can you really borrow?" This seems to be the brackets. Can you borrow? This seems to be clear. But Shasi knows the difference in how to read a Gemara. Imagirsa Pirsha Mesa, Pirsha Umesa, whether it's the Girsa Pirsha Mesa, it's separated dead, or Pirsha Mesa, it's separated and it became separated and then died. Come as far brew, nevertheless, as far is clear. Okay, and tomorrow we have to see how he deals with this significant difference of opinion. We're finished for today.